When we learned about Doc's interoperability, scalability, flexibility, and your amazing advanced privacy preserving strategies, we realized that Doc offered the complete package that we were looking for. So we had performed a very long and thorough search, and afterward it was very clear that Doc would be the best partner for what BurstIQ anticipates will be a long relationship. BurstIQ was originally founded in 2015 by technologists who had experienced some data breaches themselves with their own personal data. And their goal was to create a platform that had much better security and created much more trust and confidence in the technology capabilities to protect individuals' information. So BurstIQ was created with a blockchain-based platform. And the goal of this platform is to take the complexity out of managing sensitive human data and to create trust in how the data are managed and maintained. We also believe that this information should be used to create hyper-personalized health, work, and digital experiences. So BurstIQ designed life graphs to really revolutionize how sensitive data is collected, managed, and controlled. And we utilize Web3 standards and enterprise platforms to equip businesses with trusted, secure, and intelligent-driven data ecosystems. So, like you talked about the importance of privacy and security of this information, and one of the things that's so important about verified credentials is that they're tamper-proof, they're fraud-proof, and they can be verified with a single click. So these create more trust between people and organizations who rely on this information to be accurate and attested. So, like as we were talking about that example with healthcare providers, we need to ensure that they have achieved the education and the training and experience that they claim. And one thing I think is really valuable to consider too about verified credentials is the concept of portability. And the real value with verified credentials then is that employees can acquire skills, knowledge, could be formal education at one location, and take all of those credentials with them to other locations. And as a quick anecdote about myself, in a former role, I was a research hiring manager, and I had to find research staff with very specific skills and qualifications. And all of the resumes stated that individuals had these skills and achievements in the areas I needed, but how could I really know? And so sometimes I ended up hiring people who had a great resume and interviewed well, but they were not ultimately qualified. And this wasn't just about wasting my time. My greatest concern was that an unqualified person could harm our patients. I really wish that more employers were issuing credentials, more training institutions, more educational institutions, so that a person's education and training could be verified in this manner. I believe most of us, especially me looking back on my career as a hiring manager, I would have had a lot more trust and confidence in a candidate's abilities during the hiring process. You know, so much so that if there were two candidates that had comparable presentations with their resumes and interviews, I would hire the one who had verified credentials. Yeah, well, BurstIQ first started looking into verifiable credentials a couple years ago when we first started talking to an educational institution. And I was actually the person on our team who was tasked with performing the market intelligence and to document the features of companies that were offering verifiable credentials. And I found about, I want to say 25 or so companies around the world who were offering varieties of themes around verifiable credentials. But because BurstIQ is very focused on addressing the needs of the future, we recognized we needed a partner who could offer solutions that could be adapted to changing needs or even changing regulations. And so the BurstIQ team actually spoke with a couple companies. They were well established. They seemed to offer good solutions, but I'm not sure why, but those discussions didn't move forward. Something just wasn't right. Then when the BurstIQ leaders met the leaders at Doc, there was immediate chemistry. It was clear the leaders bonded over the shared values and vision that verifiable credentials shouldn't just capture singular events, such as a degree, but should reflect a person's lifelong learning journey and all of those skills that they acquire along the way. And so when we learned about Doc's interoperability, scalability, flexibility, and your amazing advanced privacy preserving strategies, we realized that Doc offered the complete package that we were looking for. So we had performed a very long and thorough search, and afterward it was very clear that Doc would be the best partner for what BurstIQ anticipates will be a long relationship. As we were talking about earlier, trust is a key component as to what makes a life graph so valuable and meaningful. And it's really one of the most important components of how organizations manage health information. For a project that we're currently working on, we're actually using this information to help us manage workforce markets more effectively. So we partnered with a major university to develop hyper-personalized digital experiences for nurses. Now, as we all know, we were talking about earlier, burnout, turnover are huge problems for healthcare as a whole, but particularly around the time of COVID, as a lot of individuals were questioning their future and how best to make a meaningful difference. Well, the change in turnover not only affects the ability to deliver health care, but also has an incredible cost to an organization that has to replace and retrain new, let's say, nurses or healthcare providers. Just focusing on nurses, the average cost of turnover for a bedside nurse ranges from $28,000 to $51,000. And when we look at the scale of this turnover across the healthcare industry, this cost of turnover impacts healthcare organizations to the tune of about $6.5 million per year. So with this university partner, we designed life graphs to create benefits for the whole ecosystem, where life graphs create a support network and is designed to infuse trust through each interaction. So for the nurses, life graphs can power their digital information to give them full control over how their personal life graph is being used and shared. They can share data as they feel is appropriate to make their employment experience more customized, and can select among valuable pathways or identify resources that can support them in their career journey. And for healthcare organizations, they can build more trustworthy employee experiences and develop insight about their staff so that they can more effectively address some of the issues that might be leading to burnout, and can then promote retention, even upskilling a new generation of nurses. So I really believe that life graphs and the verified credentials are instrumental for helping document and create this sense of trust where life sciences, healthcare organizations can really be confident in the information collected about individuals, and hopefully also then create some more loyalty to those organizations that are clearly doing what they can to support those employees' health, work, and their life goals.